interesting one. We have like the two ends of the music industry here, huh?
Yeah.
The behind the scenes and the performer in front of the crowd. We got it both.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome.
I'm sure we're each jealous of each other in a way.
Right.
This is a real pleasure for me. I can't believe like two former students, both like excellent musicians, like out in the music world. I'm like, that makes me like just so excited knowing that like I had some hand in this, and the both of you are doing also. So this is like really great to have Gabe here. I have a really funny story with Gabe, but I don't know if I'll share with everybody. I remember your first new tenor saxophone back in the 7th grade. Remember this? Oh, that was.
Oh, and I fell with it.
Yeah, I was the one. I wasn't gonna say it.
Yeah, I fell and started crying, I think.
It was it was so funny. He had a new saxophone, it was awesome saxophone, and he was coming into the music office. He tripped and fell on it. It's been a little while since I've seen you, but I think at that time you were about all of 3 foot tall. So like tenor and you were like the same height, and you just like lost it, and you like ran and called your mom. Everything was good. Nothing happened to the saxophone. Some hurt feelings. That was that. And then Roslyn, I think one of my favorite memories with you was the, oh my goodness, I forgot the name of the song, but you had the lead, the solo. You were standing out front doing a little New Orleans style thing. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was really cool. I remember that kind of actually made it around YouTube a little bit, because when I would do the search for that song, it was like the 3rd hit on YouTube. And you had no, I swear, at least from Austin it was.
No, I know that.
So that was like really awesome, and there was a lot of like really great comments in there. So let's see, oh man, this is weird. Okay, so Zach, do you want to lead in with a little bit of music that we got from Gabe?
Sure. So Gabe is the professional musician, so I felt it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be doing justice if we didn't hear some of his music. So we have a couple of selections. We'll play like 30 seconds to a minute of, and then maybe Gabe, you'll explain kind of how you did it, because I always find, especially this first one, fascinating. So I'm going to share my screen so everybody can see and experience this here. The 8 Gabes, as I'll call them here.
Octa Gabriel.
Okay, so Octa Gabriel. So I'm going to play about 30 seconds of this, and then maybe Gabe will explain kind of how you did it, because I'm still fascinated by it. So here. Sure.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, so I'll explain that. So about a year and a half ago, I tore my Achilles playing soccer, and I really wanted to be able to play music with people. And so I downloaded that app called Acapella, and I started messing around with it at the end of 2019. What I didn't know is that it would come in handy 3 months later when the world shut down. And, every gig was canceled. Tours were canceled. My trip to New Orleans was canceled. Everything was canceled. So I started a Patreon page and began transcribing and just playing songs I already knew via that app called Acapella. And everybody else started doing it after because they couldn't leave their apartments. And I already had a foot in the door because I've been doing it for several months. So yeah, it's called Acapella app. You do each Brady Bunch square all the way through, and then you save it, and then you go to the next square and do it all the way through. So if you mess up, you got to start over each square. And so some of these aren't, I have, I don't know, probably like 75 of them at this point. And they take a long time, but they're fun and lift people's spirits, I guess, especially the beginning of quarantine and all of that stuff. So it was a cool, it's a cool content creator. It's also a good way if you want to write a song and do different parts. You could hear all the parts on top of each other without having to hire people or getting people together. So it was a worthwhile investment for me to buy the app, for sure.
Nice. But, now, obviously, I know you two, and we've been in contact for a while now. Could you just get everybody, I have some students here in the room. I see a couple that are also logged in. Could you give them a little bit of background? We'll start with Gabe first, and then we'll kind of back and forth to Roslyn a little bit. I got two screens going. Don't worry. They hear me. A little bit of background, so Gabe, you left, you went to music. Talk a little bit about that, what you've been up to.
Yeah, well, I started with Vargas in 6th grade and 7th grade, and then he went to the high school for my 8th grade year, so I missed out on 8th grade, but then I spent high school with Vargas and learned a lot, obviously. I was taking private lessons that whole time, and was actually starting to gig in high school. Okay, so the first gig, like I was saying, was the Starbucks in the Arcadian Shopping Center at 15, and then the gelato place next to Ossining Pizza at 16. And then I went and studied music performance, technically a classical degree and a jazz minor at DePauw with a W University in Indiana. And then I came back to New York and just started, thank you, Zach, and started working basically immediately. But it took I would say it took a good 5 years to really establish, to establish myself as a professional in the city. And you don't really learn until you gig. There's no substitute. Yeah, and I've been gigging professionally for, I guess it's 12 years now. Yeah. Nice.
Okay. All right. And just so to make sure she's not too quiet, Roslyn. So, and you're sort of like on the other end of the spectrum on the music end. Could you speak to what you've been doing and background?
Yeah. I graduated in 2012, which is 9 years ago, from the high school. And I was always involved in music. I played trombone. I started taking private trombone lessons when I was in 5th grade, and I didn't stop taking private trombone lessons until my senior year of college. When I graduated was when I stopped taking private trombone lessons. My parents started me young on piano, so I had that background too, which is great. And I also picked up guitar. So music has always been a part of my life. And so that was what I did mainly in high school. For all my extracurriculars, I was in drama club, but I also was in the Youth Wind Ensemble of Westchester, the Greater Westchester Youth Orchestra. And I also, during the summers, I also did more music things. I did the NISA School of Orchestral Studies program, where there's 110 New York State high school students lived together for 4 weeks during the summer, and just was like an intensive orchestral program. And that happened to be at Skidmore College, where I ended up attending for college. And so that was a really great experience, and something I recommend if you have the chance ever to, tour a college, but if there's a program to attend, like a summer program at a college, so you get the sense of what it's like to be on campus, that was very beneficial for me, and obviously something that I benefited from because that was the college that I chose. Anyway, so throughout college, I was constantly involved in music. I think my junior or senior year of high school, I probably told a bunch of people that I wanted to be a music major, and then a lot of people, which I believe also Vargas, said, no, you don't. And like maybe have something else in addition to that. So I went in knowing I wanted to be a psychology major and a music minor. Oh, hey, Miss McRae. Okay, I just saw you there. But still, I went in fully with the thought I was going to participate in all things music. One thing a lot of times when you go into college, they want you to take a placement test to search for certain things, just see where you're at. And I took the music theory placement test, and I did not think this was going to happen, but placed in the highest level of music theory. And what did I do? I emailed Vargas immediately, and I said, thank you.
Thank you.
And so I got to skip all those other classes.
Repeat that again for all my students who are here, right? Take music theory. That's what I heard, right?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that placed me in. So that was great. So that totally like jump-started my music minor. I was like done with my music minor by the end of sophomore year or something like that, just because of that I placed higher in music theory. So yeah, but I participated in a ton of music things. It was literally like Monday night jazz band, Tuesday night orchestra, Wednesday night brass quintet, Thursday I did like symphonic band, and then I was in a bunch of like funk bands and random student-led groups, and maybe like played in the pit a couple times for student-run plays. So I was always involved in all things music. And even in my like normal classes, like English class, I would try to like write about music. And since it was a liberal arts college, I got to, there was like a lot of fun classes like that. So I had an English class that was focused on music. So I wrote about like the soundtrack to Clockwork Orange, and I wrote about Nas's Illmatic. That was in the same class. Like it was just, stuff like that. I always tried to incorporate music because it was obviously something I was interested in. So might as well write about something I'm interested in.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll stop now and then we can keep going.
It sounds like, from what you're both saying, that you did your best to take advantage of not only courses or classes that were offered here, but stuff outside of the school while you were still at OHS. Is that a fair statement to say?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So if there was like a quick summary, like what would you tell the students to do? Like, obviously they're different. We still have to get into Roslyn, exactly what you're doing, but I mean, should we try finding more gelato places to play at, or what are you thinking there, Gabe?
You should absolutely look for gigs and, start your own bands. I mean, I had probably 3 bands in high school. I was going to Peekskill. I was studying privately in Peekskill with a saxophone player named Dave Finucane, who ran One Station Plaza, if you're old enough to remember One Station Plaza in Peekskill. And I met lifelong friends there that didn't even go to OHS that I still play with. This bassist, Isaac Jaffe, plays in my yacht rock band, which is kind of like a 70s and 80s cover band. We do weddings and stuff like that. We still play together. We're very good friends. And I owe that to Dave. Yeah, I mean, do whatever you want to do, you got to do it, and don't cut corners. I was cutting corners for a while, and then I realized that I should probably just put in the work and transcribe all these tunes myself, and stop looking for the transcription. Just do it yourself, and then by the 100th transcription, you'll be doing it in your sleep. So there's no way around it. You just got to do it, and the sooner you start, the faster. More advice about connections. Meet everybody you can. Don't be salty. Be cool. There's a lot of there's a stigma in the jazz scene, or at least the bebop scene. There's a lot of scenes. In the bebop scene, it's like a cutthroat situation. Everybody's trying to be the next Coltrane, and there's no money in it, and so there's a lot of vibing that goes on in not the best way. So it's always good to just be cool and work hard, because if you play well and you can get along with people, you're going to get the gig. So that's my advice.
Nice. And so, Roslyn, sort of the same question. I like what you were saying, is that it sounded like you were definitely going to music, and then I guess psychology, right? Yeah. You took advantage of a variety of courses. Like you were doing drama. I can actually remember you singing in Give Me the Mic class as well. So yeah. Any thoughts on that? Like, how do we mix this up and kind of get our direction, especially as a musician who might be doing multiple genres, kind of like how Gabe was saying?
Yeah, I mean, so I was also singing in Give Me the Mic too, and I was in Karoga's class with photography as well, because that's also a big passion of mine. It's also just the nature of who I am. I just want to be interested in a lot of different things and take advantage of that. And that's what also propelled me to go to a liberal arts college, where I knew I could take advantage of so many different things and different courses that just, I don't know, made me a better human being, to learn all about different walks of life and different courses, and not just, stick to one lane, but take advantage of the fact that I can just round out me as a person and learn about different subjects. And that will, I think help me into the future as a professional and in my career now. And just, so, I mean, I'll touch on my career too while I'm at it. So I am the marketing manager at a music venue. It's an outdoor music venue in Katona, New York, and it's called Caramore Center for Music and the Arts. And I got into marketing, not psychology, but I got into marketing because, although some say it's quite the same, but because a summer I think maybe it was a summer during college, I wrote on a parents' Facebook group, the Chappaqua Moms Facebook group, which gave me many jobs. But I wrote on there, I said, does anyone need babysitting? Because I consider myself a professional babysitter as well. So does anyone need babysitting jobs? And then I wrote, also, if you need help with Facebook or Instagram, I think I could do that too. And I just kind of put myself out there, and a woman hired me for both. She had a small business, like startup, and I got to babysit her kids too. And so that's when I was like, oh, people pay me to do Facebook? Okay, sure. Like, I didn't even consider that as a thing at first, but then I was like, it was nothing off my back to create a Facebook post, but there's other people that don't want to go near Facebook. So that's what I started learning. I was like, oh, okay, like this is something, this is interesting. And then when I was in college, I got to be a student intern in the marketing and communications department for the school. So I was helping to promote Skidmore College to prospective high school students. So there I started the Snapchat account for the college. And I was just like working on strategies to get prospective students interested in the school and alumni to re-engage with the school. And I was just having a blast. And I could use photography too in that as well, because I literally had to take pictures to post online. So that's like when I started feeling my groove, like, okay, this is something I'm good at and I'm interested in, and it's fun, and it's something that I feel like is just like, it doesn't feel like work. So the fact that I could combine that with music at a music venue and do that, that's what made all the sense to me. So now I'm just marketing concerts and promoting concerts and telling people to go see live music, which is, I think, the most healing thing. So why not try to get people to come out and see a show? So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So that sort of actually helps me to transition into what I was thinking here. So clearly, probably Gabe more so than well, actually, with Roslyn too. COVID completely killed like the music scene for a while, right? But then we have like technology, like all these emerging things. So like, you know, Roslyn seems like you sort of fell upon it by just asking a quick Facebook question and then opened up a whole bunch of things. And then Gabe, you're using things like acapella and stuff like that. So how, like in your day-to-day stuff, how can we take advantage of technology to help promote music, promote what you're doing, to promote your performances? I think we'll start with Gabe first. I know you're on a shorter timeline.
Yeah, thanks, Vargas. So I actually have a brand new album out today called Global Entry, and it's also International Jazz Day, just so you know. So woohoo!
Yeah.
And obviously,
show the not sorry, Zach. I'm like, man, that's so crazy. But the video in a second, but show the album cover while he's talking.
Oh yeah, the album cover was made by another OHS alumni who spoke on Monday. Zach Cates made my album cover and my first album cover, for that matter. And then I mean, I really had to dig deep, you know, to get content for this release, because obviously you can't get together with people and record videos and do all the normal things you would do to release it. So I grew up with Looney Tunes and Bugs Bunny, Merry Melodies and all of that, which actually introduced me to a lot of the music that I play now. You know, pre-World War II jazz, classical music arranged for jazz. So I thought it would be cool to put some of my music to old public domain cartoons. And so I kind of just sat down, and without knowing how to do any of that, I used Microsoft Photos video editor and made 2 music videos. One of which is Zach can cue up, or Vargas can cue up. And that introduction was also made by another OHS. The introduction was made by an OHS alum, Alex Kirby, who now works on the stock market, doing their graphics. So he's killing it too, and he just did this just for fun. So yeah, maybe play a minute or so.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Funny enough, I'm old enough to remember exactly where that came from too.
Yeah.
The other people on this call.
1941, I think.
That's still before my time. So that's cool. So on, oh yeah, just watching that time. I know you got that gig.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just real quick. So Roslyn, on your end, how are you seeing that affect the music from your perspective?
Yeah, so on March 13th, 2020, our CEO told us to take a long weekend, and I've been working from home ever since. But that's the key word. I have been working ever since, which has been amazing. We are one of the very few nonprofit music venues that have not only stayed alive, but have continued to put on live stream concerts throughout the year. And also, since we have an outdoor space, we tested out the whole pod seating thing on a field. But we stayed alive because I happen to work at a very affluent music venue. I'll tell it how it is. We are in a triangle. Where we're located in Katona. Our neighbors are none other than Tommy Hilfiger, Martha Stewart, and George Soros. So that gives a little sense as to the wealth that's in the area. And so we stayed alive because of our donors, hands down. We usually only stay alive because of our donors, but more than ever last year, that was the case. So I feel very fortunate for that. And yeah, but it's been, my job changed quite drastically. Yes, I'm still marketing concerts, but I taught myself Adobe Premiere. And so I make live stream graphics now. I make, things that slide in and out, that's welcome you to the show and tell you thanks for coming to the show. And I'm the live chat monitor. So I'm the one that's like in the audience live chat, just interacting with people, answering questions. And we do like live Q&As. So I ask people, ask questions. So that's been a big one of just like taking on completely new skills.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. I know we got like just about a minute left before where you got a 2:00 hit, right, Gabe? Yeah. Okay. You're muted again. Zach, why do you keep muting him?
No, that was me. I'll take the heat on that one.
Okay, all right.
Yes, the hit is at 2:00 and the bread is good.
Yes. Okay. So for all you non-musicians, that means he's going to start playing at 2:00 and he's getting paid well.
Dave, sorry to interrupt. There is a couple messages in the chat about how can people follow you or buy your album, or maybe
go to Instagram, Gabriel Evan Music on Instagram, and just go to the link tree. Link tree is just a thing that lists all your links. So if you want to check out the music videos, you can. If you want to check out Bandcamp, you can. Follow me on Spotify, YouTube. All those links are there through Instagram. So since everybody has Instagram, I would say do that. That's probably the easiest way. Yeah.
And do you have any closing advice here? Like I said, I know you're going to run, and just for people to also know, like, Gabe's done quite a few things. I know I like the story that you had told me that you, I think, were able to book a commercial that aired on the Super Bowl while you were traveling in a van, right? So,
yeah,
I know that's like a really long story, but you have like quite an experience. So, what advice could you give to like these musicians right before you hit now?
Yeah, shed a lot. Shed is practice, by the way. You can't substitute it. There is no way to be good without practice. And find the thing that you love that you can't stop listening to, and then try to replicate that. The more niche, arguably, the better. You know, take the gig. Take every gig you can. You never know when some drunk guy is going to come up to you at your weekly gig and say, I want you to play in my Super Bowl commercial. And you're like, yeah, right. And then next thing you know, you're in a Super Bowl commercial. So you gotta, you know, and the more, you know, the more stuff you do, the easier it is to sift through the BS and the more well-rounded you'll be. And yeah, transcribe, practice, take lessons, be humble, and be cool. That's really all I can say.
I love that. I think that's perfect. So
Yeah.
I know it's you're hitting 9 minutes. I don't want to slow you down. Make sure you get those reads all set and ready to go. So I'm sure you have to head out right now. So I just want to thank Gabe for coming in, sharing your advice. You have more time with Roslyn, thankfully. But if you have to split Gabe, totally get it. Thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate it.
Thanks. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Good to see you, Vargas.
Thanks,
Yeah,
bro.
man. Looking forward to hearing the new album.
Yeah, check it's on Spotify, so check it out.
You got it. I'm
All
there.
right, guys.
Bye.
Take care.
Oh man, look at that. All right, he's got to go out. All right.
That's an exit. That's an exit right there, huh?
Yeah. It's in a way only Gabe can. So all right, so back to Roslyn. I mean, it sounds like the two of you are like really fortunate that you've surrounded yourself with the right people, and like you've made the right connection. So like, how important is that?
Oh yeah, I kind of have this my own little life motto that's like, I kind of picture myself. This is very off-brand for me, but picture myself in a boxing match. I don't know anything about boxing, but to always have people in my corner. That's what I always think about. I just always want people behind me that I've made connections with that are in my corner that I can always count on to support me and push me forward. So that's how I look at my connections. That I want, like, I want to, even if I like know you for a day, I want to make sure I keep up that connection so that way I can always tap on you later down the road if I need something. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I go back to Chappaqua Moms Facebook group because that was a lot of like my connections came from like babysitting, because not only was I babysitting the kids, I was meeting parents. And so then I could be in touch with adults that had careers that I could ask advice from. Here's a fun story of a job I got from that Facebook group. Someone needed someone to go and watch a movie and get paid for it. And I was like, what's this? And I turned out to be this, I don't even know how to describe this, but during Oscar season, sometimes there's private screenings for people that are in, that vote for the movies. And I was hired as like a movie spy to sit and watch the movie with all these other people that vote and just write down what they reacted to in the movie, and then send that information back to this woman. And I did that a couple times and got paid way too much for it. But I got that job from Chappaqua Moms Facebook group. And I also, because of that, this was like a couple years, like, I don't know, 5 years ago. That was in the cycle when there was The Revenant happening, like that movie, that was that movie Oscar cycle. And I ended up standing next to Leonardo DiCaprio at one point during all of this job, casual stuff happening. Very straight. I had to share that story because that was just like one of those things where I was like, I'm going to stay in the arts and do this job. And then it came out to be that. But she was a connection. And she asked me to do it the next year, and I was busy, and I couldn't do it. But yeah. But I'm always about making connections, people in your field, and people that you could tap on later. So, has anyone famous performed at Caramore? It depends who you think is famous. because sure, Yo-Yo Ma has performed at Paramore, but I don't know, there's people in the world that I've met that's like, who's Yo-Yo Ma? And I was like, okay, we live in two separate worlds. That's fine. Yeah, you know, I think Ben Folds is pretty famous, but I don't think most students of this age might know who Ben Folds is. So, you know, no, anyone? Check them out. You know?
Got a third of them over here knows who Ben.
Okay, cool. To be honest, though, we are mainly classical music with a little bit of jazz thrown in, and some roots music as well, a little bit of opera, chamber music. So that's what we do.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, again, it sounds like both you and Gabe have a very similar story where you made sure to keep yourself open and available to everybody, regardless of where their background was. And that had opened up a lot of doors which otherwise may not have been available to you, right?
Definitely.
Cool. So sort of cycling back for the students at OHS here, how might they be able to take that same philosophy that you just had and apply that as they head off to college or kind of prepare themselves for their careers?
So when everyone enters their first day of college, everyone is also in the same boat. So that's something to always keep in the back of your mind. If you're nervous about going to college for any reason, you should know that every student that comes in with you is usually in the same boat as you, which means that they've also never experienced a first day of college before. So everyone is kind of on the same playing field. It just depends on who you are as a person and how you're going to take, you know, your environment and make it to your advantage. You know, there's people I knew that stayed to themselves and did their work, and that was it. And that worked for them completely. I loved, you know, one of the reasons why I chose Skidmore was because of the student-teacher ratio or the student-faculty ratio, which is something you'll always see on a college brochure. It'll say like 100 to 1, which means there's probably 100 students to 1 faculty member. I'm someone that always wanted to be, you know, I swear, like since 2nd grade, I was always connecting with my teachers and like wanted to know who they were. And I ended up friends with them and, you know, that kind of thing. I'm always connecting with my teachers. So I knew that I wanted a small student to teacher ratio. And that's, I think, what benefited me, because then I'm still in touch with a lot of my professors now. Those are my connections, those, you know, especially people that are in the music industry that taught. I was fortunate enough to be in their classes. I also like wanted to be in their classes. And yeah, I wanted to keep my connections with my professors. And that was super important for me as well. I know I have 3 minutes. I have one piece of advice that I haven't said yet.
Share. Yeah, please share.
I can't stress enough how important English class is. I can't believe I'm saying this, but like it's like I never really gave much importance, honestly, to English class, because I was like, oh, this is another thing we have to do every year. But no matter what industry you go in, you have to write an email, you have to write a Facebook post, you have to like, whatever, if you're writing for a paper or anything, if you're working in finance, you always have to write a freaking sentence, and you need it to be a good sentence. And I always think back to like my English classes and that I needed to form a proper sentence. And I think that's like the most important thing, because you just need to communicate with people when you're working. So,
Roslyn, I never liked you.
Also pay your bills on time and in full. So.
Oh, there you go.
You redeemed yourself.
Well, that is awesome. It is 2:00. So that's like great advice to end on, Roslyn. Thanks so much. Is there any way, like, how can we just know what you're doing coming up, Paramore? Could we go get that info?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at any of Paramore's social socials. That's all of my work. So you could see what I do, and you could go to caremore.org, and by all means, contact me. I can leave, my contact information with the teachers. And if you have any questions about any of the stuff I talked about or any further advice, I am more than happy to talk and just be an ear as a former Ossining High School student. So
Awesome. Well, thank you again for sharing all that advice and all your wisdom. Roz, I wish you all the best. I can't wait to catch up on some more info. So thank you so much.